Hello class, today we're going to be drawing Luce, the Vatican's 2025 mascot for the Jubilee year. Luce is a really simple character, very fun to draw, and I hope you'll enjoy drawing her as much as I did. So, to start off with, you want to draw a rough circle. Next, you want to draw two little lines under sort of the sides of the circle, followed by a line connecting those two lines below them. You want to make everything look kind of round. You want to make the shape a little chubby, because she is like a chibi character, or at least a chibi-inspired character. I believe chibi means small in Japanese, but I've always thought it sounded like chubby, you know, because the characters are kind of squishy and chubby-cheeked. I then added her sleeves. You start close to the end of your body shape, follow that line up, and then you add her two little legs. They're just parallel lines, 4 lines across her raincoat. And then you want to draw these sort of curved lines overlapping a little bit above the leg lines for her boots. These are kind of some hard shapes to do, but as long as you make them round, if you like, I try to go for an accurate shape here, but you can also make them, you know, just kind of little circles, if that suits your fancy. And then I added these little lines at the bottom there that are like the soles of her rain boots. And then this is where you can get kind of creative. She has mud tracks on her rain boots that represent the hardships of her journey. You can, you know, go crazy. It's mud, so you can draw any shape and configuration you want down there. Anything that looks muddy enough for you, if you're going through maybe some hardships at the moment, and make them extra muddy, you know, to represent your difficulties you've been having. And then on the right, can't tell my left from my right. On the left side, you are going to do a little circle for her hand. Her staff is just a straight line. This is something that you might want to sort of be a little bit careful about, maybe draw a little slower, because it is kind of hard to do two sort of parallel lines that don't look wonky. But if it looks a little wonky, that's okay, you know, it's just a staff. I'm sure it didn't have to be perfect. I gave her also little mitten hands on her sides there. It's just a circle and then a smaller half circle for her thumb. Now for her hood, I add these little like almost sort of cheeks on the side that represent like where her hood falls. And this is going to be a shape that you are going to want to... It should be a little bigger than you think, because you're going to have to fit her whole face in there. But like I said before, this is a chibi character, so you can sort of make it a little rounder if that so pleases you. You know, be creative. The drawing is fun, you know? It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. It doesn't have to look exactly like the model, but it should look exactly the way you like it. Yeah. I'm going to go through a couple different versions here. So here's another difficult part of the drawing that I struggled with quite a bit. Follow the shape of her hood up and across, and then as you come up, you want to round it out. And this part is a little difficult because it's, again, as I said with the parallel line, it's a little hard to follow the contour of her hood. And now the face. You want to draw as clean as you possibly can. Part of a circle, a little curve, very close to the bottom of her hood, but not touching it. You want to leave a little bit of space between her hood and her face to fit the rosary that she wears. And then you want to add 2 lines beside that curved line you drew, which are going to represent the sides of her hair. And then I followed in by drawing the bangs. She has 3 little spikes in her bangs. You can give her more, you can give her less. I like to think that you can simplify a chibi character as much as you like. If you think it looks good, if you want to give her a couple more little stripes in the bang there, I'm not stopping you. You know, tear. And then a second little curve next to the left side. Now this is the hard part. The eyes. I have a very hard time drawing eyes. Now that I finally got the eyes right, we can focus on the finishing details for this rough sketch. I started with the cross on her rosary. You want to draw it kind of low on her coat. Make sure you leave enough space, because you always want to. It's always better to have too much than too little. She has a total of 4 beads above her cross, and then 5 beads to each side, which I'm sure you all know. That's why you wanted to leave space for these beads, you know, so you can see them and you can color them in later. I decided to give her some little smile lines, because she's so cute. Look at her, she's so cute. And some little blushes. You know, you can add your own creative touch if you like. Not too much need for model accuracy. I do want to point out though, see, I erase the eyebrow there for a little bit because I'm avoiding what is called in art a tangent. You want to make sure if you draw a line for one thing, in this case her eyebrow, I draw her eyebrow line, you don't want that line to connect to any other lines for a different thing, because then it's going to look like she has just a really long eyebrow. Finally, you want to add the little details in her eyes. She has a seashell representing, I believe, strength of faith. Don't quote me on that. Next, you want to draw the pockets. She has very big pockets on the sides of her coat. You draw sort of round squares on each side. They don't have to be perfect, you know, at the end of the day. It is a coat. It is an organic shape. But you want to draw rounded out squares on each respective side, and then you want to sort of make them stick out so that they look, you know, 3D. And there you have it. That is our sketch of Luce. Isn't she just the cutest? Look at her. Now say bye, sketch Luce. Quick cut to the future. I have now inked Miss Luce, and it's time to color her in. Hate coloring. I hate it. I'm bad at it. I'm not good. But this is actually very fun because her colors are all very simple, very solid, very flat. I kind of got ahead of myself here, but you want to use that lighter blue, same one we're going to use for the eyes probably, to color in her hair. Her hair is a very light blue. I did not get the light enough blue light when... Not light blue enough, but, you know, she kind of looks like Coraline here. Oops. But it's okay. The nice thing about art is that as you work, you know, sometimes things will look a little wonky, but the farther along you get, the more everything kind of comes together. So if one thing isn't too perfect or another thing is maybe a little wonky, maybe a little off, don't worry too much about it, honestly. At the end of the day, once everything is put together, once everything is all colored in and done, it's going to look very nice, regardless of how inaccurate certain small parts of your drawing are. You know, maybe your boots don't look as nice and round as mine because mine are awesome and great and super well drawn. But, you know, you might have very well drawn hair. And those things will kind of balance themselves out as your drawing nears completion. Once the whole drawing is done, it looks really nice, you know? It looks really pretty, regardless. Because drawings, especially, you know, colored in drawings, they're not really determined by small factors. People see the whole drawing. You know, you drew it, so you're going to see the boots and the hair and the eyes and the stuff just the way I'm seeing them. But when other people see your art, they see a whole drawing. Next, you're going to want to color in the beads of her rosary. The beads are green. Well, I'll pull up I'm going to pull up an image of Luce here again. Wow. There she is. You can see the colors of her beads, of her rosary are green, red, yellow, blue, and then the left side of the rosary is all yellow, including the centerpiece, and the right side of the rosary is all green, which matches very nicely with the color scheme. She's so color coordinated. For her skin, I had no peach-colored color pencils, so I pulled out one of my markers. Humble flex, I do own Copic markers. But if you don't have a color pencil that matches exactly with your skin tone, that's okay. You can leave it white. You can do perhaps a slightly darker shade. Doesn't really matter, you know. It's art at the end of the day. I had to take a moment to flex my Pusheen pencil case. Very cute, very kawaii, as is the subject of today's drawing. I use this darker marker. Darker marker. Again, you can use a darker color pencil. You can use maybe like a brown color pencil and color very lightly to do the blush on her cheeks and her nose. Next, use that same marker, color in her hands and the little segments of her leg that are showing over her boots. Finally, I went in with my light green and colored in the unmudded part of her boots. This may be harder or easier depending on how ham you went on the mud. Next, I colored in the mud. I just did it a plain brown. That's how it is in the model. But if you want to add, you know, some gunk, maybe some some tree branches, some leaves in there, you're very welcome to. And finally, I colored in her staff with I was going to use her skin tone, but I thought that would look a little strange. So I ended up just using my brown color pencil and coloring it in very lightly to simulate that sort of light wooded color. And I did the same for her rosary, actually, which I was also going to do that one skin tone, but I don't know. I just thought it would look strange. I will say that much. Try to avoid using the same color for too many things on your piece because it can end up looking a little strange sometimes. And there you have it, a beautiful, wonderful drawing of Luce, all of your own, and I hope you enjoyed drawing with me today. I love drawing!